channel. Today's video is going to be a good one because I want to tell you guys all about the Nintendo Switch games I am addicted to as of right now. I feel like it's always changing. So, this will be nice to kind of go back to and say like, oh man, I was into that game I was into. But anyway, I like these types of videos because, a lot of people showcase new and upcoming games, and that's cool too. Like, I want to learn about that. But I also want to learn, I'm nosy, by the way. I want to learn what people are actually playing and what games people are going back to. So these games I'm definitely addicted and cannot put down, so I'm excited to share them. Also, later in the video, I'm going to share what games you have been into. Feel free to comment in the comment section below, but I'm also going to pull from Twitter and Threads, which you should totally follow me on. And let's just see what we're all addicted to. Let's get started. So the first game, and this is probably the newest game on the list. I've been playing this nonstop. I actually did make a review about this as well. It is the new Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Like remake for the Switch. And this is originally a GameCube game. I think it was also on the PS2. I did make a review about this if you want to know my full in-depth thoughts, but man, is this addicting. And I think it's so addicting because it's an old school farming game. So there's not a lot to it. There's not a lot of depth here. So you'll be doing a lot of the same things. You'll be planting your crops, watering your crops, taking care of your animals, talking to villagers, gifting villagers. And I think that's kind of what makes it addicting. Like, I have my own routine in this game. I also like it because as you play, the more you play, the more your character ages. You can even play it so long that your character starts getting olds, like gray hair. You start having kids and stuff like that. This is just, and I could see why people would be bored of this game because, again, if you're only used to modern farming games, you might not enjoy this one as much as, say, I do. But yeah, this game totally has its hooks in me, and I will marry Molly someday. On to the next game, and you know what? This whole list is going to be very weird. It's not going to be just farming games like this next one. The next game I am totally addicted to is Arcade Paradise. I'm going to have to sell you on this game. I already know it. Okay, stay with me. It is a laundromat simulator and also an arcade compilation. It works. So basically in this game, you are running your family's laundromat. I think your dad actually gave it to you, so you sort of inherited it. And your dad is kind of like old school. He wants you to just focus on this laundromat, make your money, go home. But you have an idea to open an arcade in the back room of your laundromat, which your dad obviously doesn't approve of. So you will have to try to convince him by making money from the laundromat, slowly investing that into arcade cabinets, and you can slowly develop this arcade sort of paradise, as in the name, in the back of your laundromat. And it's an interesting gameplay loop. So most of the game, you will be doing day-to-day laundromat things. You'll be washing clothes, drying clothes, folding them, giving them to customers. You'll also go as far as to like pick up trash and even scrape gum off of benches and chairs. I don't know if I'm winning people over yet. The coolest part though is that, like I said, you take the profits from your laundromat and you can actually reinvest those into different arcade cabinets. The coolest thing is you can actually play these arcade games. Now, they aren't official game, like you're not going to be playing Street Fighter or something like that, but man, if Capcom like did a DLC or something, that would be amazing. You'll play these arcade games and the arcade games are actually really good. So here's the gameplay loop. You'll put your clothes in the washer. Each cycle takes 3 in real life minutes. So you'll have a lot of downtime in between the cycles. So you can use that time to like make sure your laundromat is clean. But if you're me, you can also play the arcade games. And what's really fun and also frustrating is you'll start playing these arcade games and then your watch alarm will go off and it's like, well, it's time to go back to work. And I love that. It makes you feel like you're actually working. Like just when you start having fun, then it's like, oh, I have to go back to work and fold laundry. It's a really cool game. I can't stop playing it. Arcade Paradise, check it out. The next game is a kind of another simulation style game. And this kind of came out of nowhere. I was kind of just browsing the eShop and found this. This game is called Good Pizza, Great Pizza. Now, I believe this started as a mobile game and made its way over to Switch. And before you write it off just because of that, it is super addicting and fun to play. So the short story is you own a pizza shop. There's a rival pizza shop across the street. And basically what you will be doing is fulfilling people's orders. So someone will come up to the counter, you'll make their order, you give them the pizza, and depending on how long it takes you, you get more money, you get a bigger tip. But it's not that simple. Let me give you an example. So a customer came up to the desk and said, "Hey, I want a pepperoni and mushroom pizza, nothing less, nothing more." So I said, "Okay, let's start it." I put the sauce, I put the cheese, put the mushrooms, put the onions or whatever I said, and I made the pizza. I gave it to them and they're like, "What is all this extra stuff? I just wanted the toppings." So like there's really weird orders. There is this mechanic where, so someone will come up to the desk, right? And they'll literally just say cheese. Like that's their order. So there's an option to just start making a pizza, or if you hit B, I believe, you can find out more about their order. But if you find out more about the order, their happiness goes down, meaning you're probably going to make less money. But if you make their order entirely wrong, you're going to have to refund them and lose even more money. So yeah, so that cheese order could be just a plain cheese pizza, or literally could be dough with cheese on it. The gameplay is super simple. You kind of just like place the toppings on, you run it through the oven, you put it in a box, you give it to them. But it's so much more, and it's so addicting, and the characters are charming. There's a bunch of different characters. Once you're done with your shift, you can actually take your earnings and customize your restaurant. You can buy different upgrades too. So one of the upgrades is like having a longer day. So obviously longer day means more orders, means more money. You can also upgrade your oven to run faster. You can, there's just so many upgrades. There's little posters that you can put up. This game is super fun. I think I got it for like a few dollars. So yeah, if you like these types of, frantic food simulator game, get it. It's super fun. The next two games I'm going to kind of group together because they're both, similar style games. They're very different from each other, but they're basically arcade games. And if you didn't know, there is this like big movement of modern game developers making retro style arcade games. I know that's always happened, but there's a few standouts for me. So the first game I want to highlight is called Anna Lynn. Now, both of these games are like under $4, by the way, which is even more enticing to get. This game is pretty much Pac-Man. So you'll be playing as this little character, and you'll be collecting these pellets while these 4 snakes chase you. If you get a giant pellet, you can then, run them over and kill them for a temporary amount of time. You'll get bonus points for doing it. It's literally Pac-Man. The level design is super cool. As you, kind of go on, there's like different levels with like vines that you can hang off of and stuff. It's arcade goodness. I really do feel like if this game was released back in the 80s or 90s, it would be a cult classic. I really do think it's that good. The next game is called Murtop. The best way I can describe this, it's spot on. It's Dig Dug meets Bomberman. It's literally that. You play as a bunny, and you kind of dig the map even looks like Dig Dug. And you'll kind of go around, but you also have bombs to destroy the enemies. This game, I think, is a little bit more challenging than Anna Lynn, but man, is this game good. And these are kind of like the bite-sized games I like to play, like just before I go to bed or something, just to kind of get a little gaming out. And I think these two are well worth it. Another game that I'm super into right now, and I did not expect to play this game because, the RPG action adventure games, they're not my favorite. I kind of like more bite-size sort of games at the moment. But this game called Trinity Trigger, man, guys, you got to tell me about these games because this one is fantastic. It plays like your old school, like PS1, PS2 dungeon crawler RPG. And man, I have fallen in love with this game. It's super addicting. I'm probably about like 10 hours in right now. I don't know how long this game is. But basically, you'll travel with... right now I have one partner, but I think there's a third Trinity Trigger that you'll get to explore with and go through dungeons. There are these like little animal creatures called triggers, kind of like Pokemon in a way, but they transform into weapons that you use. And they can transform into all different types of weapons. So right now I have a sword and also a bow and arrow. I just unlocked like a staff with my other character. And you can customize your attack patterns and stuff. There's a lot of customization in this. And for someone who's not like a hardcore RPG kind of guy, this is very inviting. You know, there's a basic sort of shop that you can buy upgrades and stuff like that for your armor and weapons. There's a crafting system where you can make like potions, antidotes, things like that. Yeah, this game's fantastic. Visually, it looks cool too. There's an area on the map that I just finished beating. It's like this dark forest, but it has like all these glowing mushrooms and stuff. I always love that aesthetic. You hit certain mushrooms and they'll light up the level more. There's also this really nice looking snow area. The game runs well. It looks great. It has voice acting in it, which is always cool, always a plus for me. The story is interesting. It comes with like I got the physical version, and it comes with like this really nice big box. Yeah, this is a game that I think a lot of you will like. And yeah, Trinity Trigger. Check it out. Another game that I'm absolutely loving, and the only reason why I'm not playing it is because Story of Seasons came out, and that is Everdream Valley. This is another one of your sort of cozy farming life simulators, but it does have a different twist on it. So you actually play as this little kid, and basically you're going to your grandparents' farm and spending the summer there. And it starts out, you know how kids are. They're like, well, I don't want to spend the summer with my grandparents. So like you kind of start off not loving the idea, but you slowly sort of grow into it and learn more about the farm. And it's kind of your duty to like repair the farm and bring it back to its glory and stuff like that. I will say what sets this game apart is that there is like a giant open world to explore. At the time of this recording, I've played about 10 hours and I have discovered like 1/10 of the map. Like the map is huge and it slowly opens up based on progression. I was told that this game is about a 20 to 25 hour game, so I'm not too sure how much you can get out of this, but the farming is solid. Like I said, there's a cool open world to explore, and there is an interesting thing that happens at night. So, without spoiling too much, there is this dream mechanic where you'll go to bed and you'll experience dreams of different animals on your farm. So, for example, I went to bed and I woke up as the dog that's on my farm. And there was this little mini game where I had to like chase around wolves and stuff to protect animals that were living on my farm. I think that's really cool. I also turned into like a bee on my farm and I did a little mini game. I turned into a goat. I turned into a duck. I think that that's really cool. Like I think that games that try something new and offer something new from, you know, the standard farming game really stick out to me. This game's great. It doesn't look the best. It doesn't run the best. Like it doesn't crash or anything, at least for me. It's kind of like on the cheapy side. It's under $20, but I'm having fun with it so far. I think a lot of you will like it as well. Okay, now we go over to Twitter. Make sure you're following me over on Twitter at NintenTalk. I asked you guys, what are some Nintendo Switch games you are currently addicted to? Responses might end up in a video. This is that video. Okay, let's get started. I have to start with this game because I think this one sort of won over pretty much everyone. And that is a game called Wildflowers. Now, I actually own this game, have not played it yet. But man, a lot of you... No, there's more than that, Pat. There's even more than that. Put them all on the screen. A lot of you really seem to like this game. I know it's sort of a witchy, story-focused farm sim type game. The one drawback is you can't customize your character, so you have to play as this girl character. But people are swearing by this game. Like someone commented that they're like 70 hours in, and I just wanted to shout out that game because a lot of you are addicted to it right now. Next up, we have Mike Matei, who is into Circus Charlie Arcade Archives. I know he likes to punish himself with difficult arcade games. Never heard of this one. I had to look up gameplay to see what it was about. This kind of looks up my alley right now. Like, I have a bunch of different game genres I'm into, but the only constant is arcade games. Like, I love the punishing difficulty sometimes, if the game plays well. So I'll definitely have to check that game out too. Becca has been telling me about this game, Cook Serve Delicious 2 and 3. I believe it's on the eShop for super cheap. It is kind of like the Good Pizza, Great Pizza game that I was talking about, but I think it's a little bit more in depth. It's like a cooking simulator. You're against the clock. I think you own like a food truck or something like that. Yeah, Becca's mentioned this numerous times. I definitely have to check it out. All right, moving over to Threads. Guys, follow me over on Threads. I'm pretty active on that, and with the whole Twitter situation not going super well, follow me on there. I put the same thing, what games are you addicted to? Organized Soprano, Tears of the Kingdom. Kay, I know you were loving that game. I think I'm at the point where I'm kind of done with Tears of the Kingdom. I beat through it like super quickly, and then my second playthrough, I'm really taking my time. I'm kind of at the point now where I'm doing like all the extra stuff, you know, different shrines that I missed, maybe get some Koroks and things like that. Tears of the Kingdom is a masterpiece. It's definitely my favorite Zelda game. And finally, Santiago says, Monster Hunter Rise. I was day one and have more than 400 hours with the DLC and Fire Emblem Three Houses, all 3 or 4 main routes finished. I have always wanted to get into Monster Hunter. I don't know which one I should get into. So if you know more about Monster Hunter, let me know. Anyone else, let me know your most played game right now, your most addicted game. I know Pikmin 4 is also coming out very soon. So very exciting stuff. Let me know what you think of my picks. And yeah, do you want me to do more of these? I'll see you in the next video, guys. Peace out.